Okay, our job today is to factor a difficult trinomial expression whose leading coefficient is not the number 1. So here is my expression, 5x squared minus x minus 6. Obviously, it's a trinomial, 1, 2, 3 terms. Obviously, it's already written in the correct descending order. I want to factor it. I want to rewrite it as multiplication. So the first rule of factoring is always GCF. If there's something in common with all the terms, we're supposed to divide it out. So if we look, does 5x squared, x, and 6 have something in common? Well, 5, negative 1, and 6 can only be divided by 1, and that's not going to change. All 3 terms do not have the letter x, so we can't do that. So there is no GCF, okay? So this is truly the trinomial rule. The problem is the leading coefficient is not 1, there's a 5 in front. That's going to play havoc when we do the factoring. You're going to have to think a little bit more. This is the method I was brought up with, trial and error, where you just think about doing backwards FOIL. So again, I'm going to write FOIL. This we know is our first term. This we know is our last term. And the term in the middle is made by combining the outers and inners. Okay, remember, if we had 2 binomials and we multiplied them out, we'd get 4 terms. And the ones in the middle, the outers and inners, would make this term. We know when we factor a trinomial, the answer will always be 2 binomials. So I'm going to put my 2 sets of parentheses. I know when I factor a trinomial, I always start with the first term. Well, my first term is 5x squared. What in math can I multiply to make a 5x squared? Well, we know x squared is always x times x. So to make 5x squared, it would be 5x times 1x. And that's our only option, which is great. So there we go. We got our first term in. Done. Now we're going to go to our last term. Remember, don't look at the symbol, just look at the number right now. I need my factors of 6. So I'm going to go over here. I know it's 1 times 6 and 2 times 3. Those are my factors of 6. We talked about this. You do not pick eeny, meeny, miny, mo, which factor you like better. You have to listen to the expression. You have to read the expression. I want to multiply to 6, and I want to subtract to whatever this coefficient is in front, which is negative 1. All right? Now, here's the problem. Most of us would look and say, oh, 2 and 3 are going to subtract to negative 1, and stick the 2 and 3 in there. But the difference today is this is just not x times x. There's a 5 in front. So that's why we're going to call this trial and error. We're going to try the 2 and the 3. The only way we're going to guarantee those are the right factors is to get this middle term, you have to check the nose and the mouth. Remember, here are your inners, your nose, and here are your outers, your mouth. So I'm going to show you putting the 2 and the 3 in why it doesn't work. If I put the 2 here and the 3 here, we have 5x times x, which would give me the first term, 5x squared. We have 2 times 3, which would give me the last term, 6. But this says, specifically says, we want the outers and the inners to subtract to make negative 1. Well, if you check your outers, 5x times 3 is 15x. 2 times x is 2x. And if you subtract 2x and 15x, you will not get negative 1x. So that tells you this 2 and 3 may not be in the correct position. So what most of us do is we switch it. So I'm going to write it down here and show you again, because I don't want to erase. If I have 2 sets of parentheses, and I leave the 5x and the x in the same position, because 5x times x is going to give me my 5x squared. But now instead of writing 2 times 3, I write 3 times 2, which will still give me 6, cumulative property of math. Now watch what happens when we do the outers and the inners. The inners, the nose, are 3 times x, which is 3x. And the outers, the mouth, are 5x times 2, which is 10x. Will 10x and 3x subtract to this middle term, negative x? No, it will not. 10x and 3x will subtract the 7x. What that tells you now is you tried to factor 2 and 3 both ways. You did 2 times 3, you did 3 times 2. Neither one worked. It tells you that can't be the right factors. That's what I mean by trial and error. This 5 makes a difference now. So if the 2 and 3 don't work, we still have the factors 1 and 6. So we're going to try them. So I'm going to erase my 2's and 3's. And we're going to try the 1 and the 6. And it is truly trial and error. It's like hitting the jackpot. You're either going to hit it the first time or you're not. So I'm going to put the 1 here and the 6 here. Let's see if that works. Let's check our inners, 1x. Our outers would be 5x times 6, which is 30x. Will these inners and outers subtract to 1? No. 1x and 30x subtracts to 29x. So that didn't work. But remember, multiplication is commutative. Who said the 1 had to go first and the 6 had to go second? So let's rewrite it as 6 times 1. If you notice, I never moved the 5x and the x. The first term stays put. I just play with the constants. Now check your outers and inners. My inners are 6x. My outers are 5x times 1, which is 5x. Will 6x and 5x subtract to 1x? Yes. That's what I mean by trial and error. You play the game. Now that you got all the parts, all the terms in the correct order, now the last thing you deal with when factoring a trinomial is the signs. The rules don't change. Subtracting still means these signs have to be different. The sign in the middle goes to who's larger. Who is larger? Your inners 6x or your outers 5x? Well, your inners are larger. 6x is bigger. So that means the 6x would have to be negative and the 5x would have to be positive, because negative 6x plus 5x would make the middle term. So if you follow this loop, the 6 is the negative and the 1 gets the positive. And that's one approach to factoring a difficult trinomial. That's the way I was brought up doing it. It's just a thinking process of understanding FOIL. If you don't like this method, I have another method to show you in the next video. See you then.